Hello everyone. When Paul wrote the letter to the Philippians, because he was in prison, probably in Rome, and they had sent him provisions and encouragement, because in those days prisoners were not really looked after by the authorities. It had to be their friends, family, church members would take food and stuff to them. Otherwise they were not fed and they would just starve to death. They didn't really care. The authorities. So when Paul was in prison, the people in Philippi, they had sent him provisions, they had sent him money, they had sent him stuff and their prayers. And Paul had written that letter back to them in the book of Philippians, how he appreciated them, and he's not non-appreciative of their gifts, but he kind of learned how to live with and without. And he gave words of encouragement to the church, and he was happy that they were still going strong, because when that church was formed, he did not stay there very long before he had to leave Philippi. He was chased out of the city. So he was very pleased that without him being there, and these ones are baby Christians, the church was still thriving enough for them to all do a collection and bring stuff for him. So that Philippians is like a happy book. So this is how it began, and here we will see Lydia. So back in the book of Acts chapter 16, 16, Paul and his companions, probably Timothy and Silas, they'd gone to Philippi, and they went on the day of the Sabbath. They were looking for a place to worship, but they could not find any. It's a Roman colony, Philippi, so it's possible that there were not 10 Jewish men there to form a synagogue, because we need 10 Jewish men, and Jewish men is from the age of 13 and above to form a synagogue. So they couldn't find a synagogue to pray. So they went beside the river where there was some women gathering. They were there praying, studying the word together. And Paul sat there and started teaching them about Jesus, about his death, his resurrection. And they listened. And in that Acts 16, there was a woman named Lydia. God opened her heart to receive the words from Paul, to listen and to accept. And she was a wealthy woman. She was a seller of purple, and purple is the color of royalty. So she was quite wealthy. She probably had lots of houses and maid servants and men servants. She was a wealthy woman, well-to-do. And when they all had baptized and became Christians, she invited Paul and his companions to come and stay with her. So she probably gave them a house or a room to themselves to come and stay there. So this, in one of Lydia's houses, the first church in Europe was now founded. And then Paul and his companions would go there, and other Christians started joining, and they were teaching them the word, teaching them about Jesus and all of that. However, it was short-lived, because one day when Paul and Silas were going about, there's this girl who is demon-possessed that kept on following them every day. And as they're going about preaching the word, this little girl will be saying, "Listen to them. They are true men of God. Listen to them. They have the power of God in them." And it was kind of like a mockery, like when somebody is making fun of your ministry. And it's like, okay, Paul just got fed up and vexed about it. And he cast that demon out of the little girl there and then. Now, some people would wonder, but she was saying the truth. They are men of God. They are speaking the truth, yeah, but not in a derogatory, derisory manner. They're poking fun at your ministry. It can do more harm than good. So he cast that demon out of the little girl, and so she could no longer prophesy. So when her owners saw that she could no longer prophesy because she was using a demonic spirit, and they knew that was the source of their income, they were enraged. So Paul and Silas were arrested, they were flogged publicly, and they were thrown into prison. So while they were in prison, even though they were sorely flogged and all their skin, they must have been in pain, there'll be lashes all over their body. The Bible says they were praising God, worshiping God, singing. And while they were doing all of that, there was the sudden earthquake. The prison doors flew open. All the chains of all the prisoners, it came off. You know, people were amazed. They were wondered, because even all the other prisoners inside that prison, they heard all the singing. They saw all this. So when the jailer came and he saw that the prison doors were open, he feared for his life, that the prisoners had escaped. So he was going to kill himself, because he would be killed anyway. They would think it was a plan, that he must have released them. They would not believe that it was a supernatural thing at all. And then Paul shouted out and said, "Don't kill yourself. We are all here. We didn't run away. We're all here." And on account of that, the jailer gave his life to Christ. He and his household, they became baptized, and they also became Christians. And then he treated their wounds, took them into his house. His house is probably connected to the prison, so it's not like he took them outside. And they, ate together. They also learned about Jesus. And in the morning, the magistrates sent word to the prison that release those men and let them go. And then Paul refused. Paul said, "We're not going anywhere. You beat us publicly, despite the fact that we are Roman citizens. And now you just want to release us like that. We're not going." I'm sure Silas must have said, "Let's just go. They have released us." Paul said, "No, we're not going anywhere." So when the magistrates all heard that they are Roman citizens, they were terribly afraid that they had flogged Roman citizens publicly without a trial. So they now came and said, "We are very sorry. We didn't know you are Roman citizens. Please, just leave our city. Just go, please. We are begging." So Paul and Silas left the prison. So they went back to Lydia's house, where the other Christians were gathered, and they gave like a farewell speech. Must have preached some more about Jesus, prayed and blessed everybody, and then they left the city. So they left that little congregation behind in Lydia's house and left. So that's why in the book of Philippians, Paul wrote to them. He was very, very happy. You see, even most churches nowadays, if the pastor announces that next week I won't be in church, I'm going on a holiday, the church will be almost empty. Most pastors nowadays, they don't let the congregation know when they are not going to be in church. They just slip away. It's only few people who will know. If not, the church will be empty. But despite Paul not being there, the church was thriving. It was booming. People were still Christians, and more other people had joined. So Paul was really delighted, which is how we should be as Christians. When you through your witness, somebody becomes a Christian, and then later they also start bringing more people in, you should be delighted. It should be your joy that, wow, just through one preaching, one teaching, one witness, more people have joined. It should be the delight of everybody that is thriving, is doing very well. So that's how we saw Lydia. God touched her. God opened her heart. She opened her home. It became the first church in Europe. Anyway, they are talking about it now. They will mention Lydia, and she's a wealthy woman. So, she could have said, "What else do I need? I'm wealthy. I'm rich. I don't need Jesus." But she did, because she was worshiping God. But it's only she didn't know much about Jesus. And then Paul came and told her. So as a woman, don't write yourself off. Don't say, "I'm only a woman. I'm not important." Yes, you are. We want to hear your voice. As a woman, God can use you, and he will use you exceedingly. So avail yourself. There are lots of women pastors out there. That's their calling. Lots of women ministers. Lots of women evangelists. They go around the place preaching to people, bringing people to Christ. They are women as well. So do not sell yourself short. God needs you in his kingdom. Jesus had women, who blessed his ministry. So women are also important. So anyway, this is Lydia on Women of the Bible series. God bless you. Bye.